Warhammer is the best it's ever been. I've been in the hobby for over 30 years now, and I can confidently say that we are either in or just on the cusp of what future fans will consider the golden age of Warhammer. My name's Guy, you're watching Midwinter Minis, and in this video I'm going to pretend it's BuzzFeed in 2013 and give you my top 10 reasons that prove Warhammer is the best it's ever been. First off, miniature quality. Back in the day, Warhammer minis were crafted by hand and cast in metal, and while those old minis are packed with charm, by today's standards they look a bit janky. These days the details are exquisite, the poses cinematic, and even rank and file troops look incredible. Gone are the days of squads full of monopose marines. Today every model drips with personality. From grimdark gothic warriors to jaw-dropping old world monsters, I think it's fair to say that Games Workshop has absolutely mastered its craft. And while our wallets might be weeping, our display cabinets have never looked better. This isn't just progress, this is perfection. Number 2. More armies and factions. And once upon a time, Warhammer armies boiled down to Imperial, Chaos, and some unfortunate Xenos doomed to be ignored for a decade. Now, incredible faction diversity. You want power-armoured zealots? You can take your pick. Loyalist, heretic, or something in between. Fancy some alien biomechanical horrors? Tyranids and Necrons have got you covered. From high-tech fish boys to junkyard pirates with a Cockney accent, there's something for everyone. Even Age of Sigmar has exploded with new, wonderfully bizarre factions, so whether you love giant stompy robots, undead pharaohs, or cyberpunk elves, there's never been a better time to build an army that's truly yours. Number 3. Expanded narrative and lore. Historically, Warhammer's lore has been pretty rigid. Everything was grim, there's non-stop conflict, but nothing ever actually changed. Well, not anymore. Cadia? Gone. The Imperium? Split in half. Guilliman? Back from the dead, and extremely disappointed in pretty much everyone. Now, it's not just 40k that's had its lore turbocharged. Age of Sigmar has gone from vague, ill-defined fantasy magical realms to a rich, evolving setting with gods, betrayals, and proper world building. Black Library just seems to be churning out banger after banger, and pretty much every faction seems to have real depth now. The stakes feel higher, the characters are more memorable, and for the first time ever, we don't really know what's coming next. And that's pretty exciting. If you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button to let YouTube know you're enjoying a bit of positivity for once, and subscribe if you want to see more. Right, on to number 4. The best edition of 40k. Now, while there's been lots of criticism of Warhammer 40k's 10th edition by veteran players, there isn't a shadow of a doubt that the more streamlined rules are far more inviting for newer players, which has helped the player base grow bigger than ever. There was a time when learning Warhammer rules felt like deciphering ancient hieroglyphs, arcane, contradictory, and requiring a wizened remembrancer, or at least a very patient friend to explain everything. Now though, the core rules can fit on 2 sheets of paper and are free online. Dropping the need to micromanage your loadouts and point balancing all your war gear options infuriated a lot of seasoned 40k fans. That is one less hurdle for new players to jump through before they can start enjoying their first few games. I mean, it's still Warhammer and it's still ridiculously complicated, so some confusion is inevitable, but at least now you don't need a law degree to enjoy it. There's also tons of new ways to play now, a game mode to suit every kind of player. Gone are the days of arduous all-day battles where you barely made it past turn 2 before the pub called. Now you're spoilt for choice. You want a quick skirmish? Kill team. A balanced, beginner-friendly match? Combat Patrol. Narrative lovers get Crusade, competitive players get Match Play, and if you just fancy throwing dice with the mates, Open Play has you sorted. No matter your time, budget, or patience for rulebooks, there's a Warhammer game for you. Pick your poison, roll your dice, and enjoy. Number 5. Digital integration. Remember when keeping track of Warhammer rules meant lugging around a rulebook, war gear book, all of your codices, an FAQ photocopied from a white dwarf, and an emergency notebook? Well, thankfully those days are over. Core rules are free online, balance updates happen pretty regularly, and even Games Workshop admits that people use apps now, which is refreshing. A one-stop shop of rules, army building, and datasheets all at your fingertips. Sure, you still have to pay to unlock armies with a code in your codex, but it's a start at least. Also, you can't forget Warhammer Plus, Games Workshop's own streaming service that delivers lore deep dives, battle reports, and animations, as well as digital versions of out-of-print magazines and books. Now, it obviously hasn't been without its teething problems, but what novel streaming service has? So whether you're theory crafting on the go or binging grimdark content at home, Warhammer has never been more accessible. Number 6. The community. I remember when Warhammer was a lone wolf's hobby, painting your minis in a dimly lit room, you lie in bed trying to make sense of the rules at the wee small hours, and sending out carrier pigeons to try to find someone to actually play against. These days, we've got YouTube, Twitch, Discord, Reddit, massive in-person events. You're literally never alone in your plastic addiction. You want some painting tips? There's a tutorial for that. You want a friendly chat about lore? Tune into a podcast. Whether it's competitive tournaments, local gaming clubs, or just sharing your latest kit bash online, Warhammer has never been so social, so welcoming, and so creative. The hobby isn't just bigger, it's better. And I know this is more of a personal note from me, but the community's growth, particularly on YouTube, has let me do this, Midwinter Minis, full-time for my job for 6 years, and I cannot thank you all enough. So speaking of which, before we jump into point number 7, I just want to quickly thank our latest Patreon supporters, each transformed into a delicious sausage chunk. Now let's see if my dog Nessa can catch them all. This one's from Doughy Doe, Knight/599, Craig K, Aidan Michael, and Duckbutt. Yeah, 5 out of 5, good gal. Okay, a worthy distraction, I'm sure you'll agree. Now on to point number 7. Paints and hobby technology. Now, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but back in my day, this was all the help we got with painting, and this is all we had to use. Pretty basic acrylics or enamels if you hated yourself. Now these days, you've got contrast paints, absolute one-coat magic. Airbrushes are pretty affordable, and there's special paints formulated just for them. And don't even get me started on 3D printing, a literal hobbyist's dream, or Games Workshop's nightmare, maybe? Now, whether you're a pro layering blends like DaVinci or just a beginner trying not to drown your mini in Agrax Earthshade, the tools available for hobbyists now make painting faster, easier, and more enjoyable than it's ever been. Less faff, more fun, and painting a whole army now kind of feels actually doable. Number 8. Video games, obviously. Now, it's not just been the tabletop that's seen growing success. It feels like computer games based on the Warhammer IP have been getting better and better every year. I mean, you could make a strong argument that their games peaked with this legendary intro. But you can't deny that Warhammer games have been absolutely smashing it recently. Whether you crave the mass fantasy battles of Warhammer Total War 3, the claustrophobic co-op bloodbath of Darktide, or grimdark bug-stomping simulator Space Marine 2, there's a Warhammer video game for you. The franchise has even breached the mainstream so effectively there's crossovers into other games that you just couldn't have even imagined a decade ago. Number 9. Good Guy Games Workshop. Now, not so long ago, it honestly felt like Warhammer releases were as rare as a peaceful day in the 41st millennium. But now, new codexes, new balance updates, new models, new expansions seem to be happening faster than ever. Games Workshop also actually seem to be listening to feedback. Mostly, meaning FAQs and errata keep things fresh. No more waiting years for your faction to get love. Everyone seems to be getting their time in the sun, even squats. Somehow. Whether you're a painter, a lore buff, a video gamer, a tabletop gamer, there is always something to be excited about. And Games Workshop haven't just been rewarding us, the hungry hobbyist, either. They've been rewarding their own staff. Thanks to booming sales and unprecedented growth, the company just handed out £20 million to its employees in bonuses. And that's not just for the top dogs at the company, it was shared equally among its 3,000 employees. Games Workshop also now generates about 7% of their electricity through on-site solar panels, and many bricks and mortar Warhammer stores have also started sprue recycling points to turn those grey frames and empty paint pots back into new models in exchange for a discount in the store. Wait. In exchange for knowing they won't go to landfill. Finally, point 10. It's hit the mainstream. Warhammer used to be a niche hobby, a weird, nerdy thing you did in secret. Now, it's on the verge of becoming a mainstream entertainment powerhouse. With Henry Cavill heading up the Amazon-backed Warhammer series, a whole new audience could be introduced to the grimdark universe we've loved for years. Celebrities are championing their love for the hobby. You can buy Space Marine t-shirts in Tesco. Everywhere you look, there's new merch, new products. Warhammer in places you've never seen it before. It feels like we're watching the hobby and the franchise level up in real time. If Warhammer isn't the best it's ever been right now, it sure feels like it's going to be very, very soon. There we go. I think that's a pretty good summary of why Warhammer is the best it's ever been, but obviously that's not the whole picture, that's not the entire story. This video has been an intentionally very positive and rose-tinted view of the hobby. I've also made a sister video to this one called Yeah, you guessed it. Warhammer is the worst it's ever been, where I basically flip the coin and tell you why its best days are well behind it. The fun thing is though, these two videos came out at exactly the same time, down to the second, and they're pretty similar lengths. So if one of them does significantly better than the other, I think that's a pretty good indicator of what we as hobbyists, and especially viewers on YouTube, actually seek out to entertain us. Will it be this video full of positivity or the other video full of delicious negativity that wins out? Now, I'm not a gambling man, apart from that time I bet 20 quid at 40 to 1 that Lordi would win Eurovision, and they did, but I reckon it's going to be the other video that's full of negativity that does the numbers. And this is something to keep in mind. Focusing too much on the negative can be a real trap. It's so easy to get swept up in all the complaints and frustration that get voiced online, whether about the game, the models, the lore, or the company behind it all. But that kind of constant negativity, it isn't healthy. It can and will cloud your judgment, make it harder for you to enjoy the hobby for what it is, a creative outlet, a fun pastime, and a rewarding passion. Warhammer, like anything, has its flaws and challenges, but by consuming more positive content and interacting with the good stuff, you also create a community that is more supportive and welcoming for everyone. Criticism is important, it drives improvement, but don't let it drown out the joy that Warhammer has brought to millions of people over the last few decades. Keep a balanced view and try to focus on what makes you happy. The golden age of Warhammer is as much about how we engage with it as it is about the game itself. So whether you're in it for the lore, the minis, the tabletop game, the video games, the painting, don't let the negativity consume you. Enjoy the ride, celebrate the wins, and remember, right now, Warhammer is the best it's ever been. Or is it? Why don't you go check out the other video for some more contrasting viewpoints? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.